Hi everyone, I'm Isabel.
And I'm Kaylin.
For our Culminating Experience project, we created an online publication called Mindiac, which is Mindfulness for the Sustainability Professional.
I think we can all agree that sometimes we have to think outside the box on complex issues, or collaborate with a diverse set of stakeholders, or maybe we just feel overwhelmed by the sheer amount of work we need to get done that day. In order to feel prepared and confident, we want to reach into our toolbox, grab skills like GIS or systems modeling. However, we also need to grab intangible skills like self-compassion, self-awareness, empathy, active listening, and preventative self-care. I don't disagree that both of these skills are equally important, tangible and intangible. However, most of the time you learn intangible skills through applied settings like volunteering and your job. So therefore, unfortunately, sometimes intangible skills can be passed over by business acumen, not allowing proper time for reflection. So therefore, we wanted to provide sustainability professionals with a way to sharpen those intangible skills that might be missing from their professional toolbox. Mindfulness has been a successful intervention in other caring professions, such as the health and medical fields, and we believe that mindfulness will be a successful intervention in sustainability as well. Mindfulness is a skill that must be practiced, and therefore Mindiac makes a case for this practice and why it's relevant for sustainability professionals by providing interviews, case studies, and evidence backing.
We found our mindfulness framework from the paper from Bayer that analyzed the top 5 mindfulness questionnaires, which is the current way to measure mindfulness, and they cross-referenced them and came up with 5 facets of mindfulness. Then we used a paper by Burdge and Week that detailed the top skills that sustainability professionals need. We found that some of the skills that they listed in their paper aligned very nicely with things that mindfulness already addresses. This intersection is the foundational research behind our publication.
So after we identified our 2 frameworks, we then created a chart for all the facets. This is just one example. The chart reads from left to right. The facets we identified from that framework, we then associated to a mechanism. After we associated that mechanism, we went to associated brain areas. And because our brain has neuroplasticity, it's neuroplastic, which means we can rewire it over time. We associated different exercises. When you do those for a certain period of time, they should rewire brain function.
So that's our foundational research, but what we really want to show you is the publication. Click one page back. Oh. We're sorry.
No, we get to see the whole thing this way.
Can't you at the bottom click in the
No, we're like waiting. Well, this is our whole publication. We're going to start from the very
Just hold on to
beginning.
it.
To the left. Well, we're almost there. So
Yeah. Well, that was a good way to do that. So here's the title page of our publication. It's called Mindfulness, and let's get started. So we start off with just acknowledgements, thanking people that we interviewed for their time and helping us create content for the publication, and also our teachers. Thank you to Paul, Scott, Tyler, and Catherine for helping us edit the publication. And then we jump to our table of contents. So as you can see, all of the section headers just lit up. Those are links where you can jump to different sections in the publication, which you'll need because it's 70 pages. But in the body of the publication, whenever you see a box lit up, that means that we've linked our direct source. So you can click on it and see what study is backing that claim. But for now, let's jump to Letter from the Editor. So in this kind of introductory section, on the left, we wrote a letter to the reader, introducing them to the publication, what they can expect, and why we did this project. We also included a more personalized video. Oh,
No.
I didn't, but that's okay.
It says words.
It's there.
Sound on it, I promise.
But the most important part of this page is probably the survey portion down here. So at the end of every section of the publication, we indicated a survey with this lotus flower. Let's check it out. So this is the Mindiac feedback survey. It's only 8 questions. It should take 3 minutes, and it's totally anonymous. And the purpose of this is just to gain initial feedback and to see what people think about mindfulness after they read the publication. It's easy to get back into also.
So then we did an introduction section, which was meant to gain common ground with the reader, explain what mindfulness actually is. It's been around for a long time. So what does mindfulness mean? And then the sustainability professionals is meant to hook a sustainability professional. So why does this even matter for you? Why does mindfulness matter? and an overview. The next page, because mindfulness has been around for a very long time, there's common misconceptions with that word. So what does mindfulness mean to us? And then the 5 facets, so we explained to you that BEAR framework. This is just an overview of the BEAR framework. We also talk about these facets in silos. However, the 5 facets are very interconnected. So when you work on one skill, you're actually working on all 4 of the other 4. This is just kind of the introduction section. We're only going to show you the observation facet for the sake of time, but all other facet sections go in the same order. So when you get started, it starts with what it is. So what is the observation facet? What does it mean with the lens of mindfulness? Then we transition to how to do it. So if you actually wanted to practice this, what does that look like? Why you should do it is all for the sustainability professional. So it's again meant to understand, as a sustainability professional, why does observation matter to you? Why should you develop this skill set? The next is why we know. So this is all about brain function. So how does developing and doing these exercises over a certain period of time, what is it doing to your brain? And then over time, how do you develop that skill set?
The next section takes everything you learned in the first part and applies it in an engaging story format. So we wrote a story about a sustainability researcher named Blake, who is stationed in India studying water quality levels in the Ganges River. Throughout the story and throughout the chapters in the publication, you see Blake facing a lot of sustainability challenges. Obviously, she's working in a complex situation that she ultimately overcomes using mindfulness exercises that we suggest in the publication. At the end of these sections, we include an analysis portion that just drives home the key points that the reader was supposed to get from the story, and a reflection section where the reader can internalize what they learned and apply it to their own lives. We've also included recommended reading throughout the publication that just shows our readers some of the things that we found really interesting, some awesome texts that they can use to delve deeper into the subject.
So the last section is the exercise section. On the left-hand side, before Isabel and I even started writing this, we conducted 10 interviews with mindfulness and sustainability experts. From those, we took testimonies from those experts and wrote about them and their journey from a professional standpoint through mindfulness and how it's helped them in their daily life. So this is Dr. Sari Rothromer. She's a psychologist who has a practice in Scottsdale, and she talks about how she uses mindfulness practices and exercises with her patients. And then on the right-hand side, you see that full body awareness. The next one is going to be emotional awareness meditation. So both exercises follow the same format. It's a goal of the exercise, the time it takes to do the exercise, and then the actual steps that you need to do to complete the exercise.
Since this is the end of the section, we have the lotus flower indicated at the bottom so that the reader can click on the link and take our survey. But for now, let's skip to the end. So we kind of conclude things by providing some next steps and talk about our own mindfulness experience, where we started, some barriers that we faced, and just kind of encourage our readers to take up this practice. We really want them to give it a try. We also provide some suggestions about what to do if you get stuck along the way. After that, we list our references, and that's the end. Yeah. So we have more.
So as Isabel is going back to our slides, really the centerpiece of our culminating experience was to develop tools that sustainability professionals can use and do it in a way that's an easily digestible platform that anybody can access. You guys can all access this publication. It's a live link. So that was the next steps is distribution. So we've had lots of interest from coworkers as well as our interviewees to send the final publication and start distributing it to colleagues, as well as in the future, MSUS and grad students take this work and enhance it and test the effectiveness of what we did. You can do that by different focus and control groups. So those are kind of the two different things. But then as far as Isabel and I would be hypocrites if we didn't practice what we preach. So over this year time period, we started to develop our own mindfulness practice of doing 10 to 30 minutes a day of just developing and working on our skill sets. And I know for me, it's helping with stress and looking at things with a clearer perspective, having a better positive attitude, and being more grateful for small things in life. So
in addition to what Kaylin said, I really appreciate mindfulness practice now more than ever, especially because the little bit of time that you put into it has such a huge impact. It completely refreshes your perspective, and even just practicing it for 2, 3, or 5 minutes a day in increments can really just reframe your entire day and make it better.
So we challenge you to take 5 to 10 minutes out of your day and start your own practice. Trust us, you won't regret it. Thank you.